Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for joining us here at USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show is the United Kingdom News and Culture, bringing you the latest and the greatest of what's going on in the UK. Joining me is our esteemed panel. Let's welcome them. DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. I'm not sure she's in Virginia or Texas, but we're happy to have you here. Hello.
Hi, from Virginia.
Virginia. I love Virginia. As you know, my family has homes there, my nephews and my sister and brother-in-law. So it's a wonderful state.
Yep.
Are you enjoying your new place?
I am, especially it's in walking distance to the woods. So I get to be with the creatures hopping around and flying.
Sounds like a new book series coming for you, From the Woods. All right, let's welcome our other panelists who are freezing. It's frigid where they are, but they have so much warmth in their heart that just melts all the snow and ice away. Welcome, Helena Chard, joining us from London. Hello.
Hello, lovely to see you guys.
Nice to see you as well.
It's chilly, but the sunshine is actually out here, but it is really cold.
That makes you feel better when the sun's out, doesn't it?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
It's like there's hope.
There is absolutely hope. And lovely to hear that Diane's really near the woods. Oh, it sounds marvelous. Love that.
Yes. Have you done any of your walks in the cold, frigid air, Helena?
Oh, yeah, every day. Every day. No matter what, I'll always factor something in. And I love it. And it's, it's not as good as the, cold water dips that everyone does, but it's not far off. It really does. It just picks you up. I recommend it.
It's good for you too. They have that whole cryogenic thing where people go into the frigid ice room or whatever it is. But yeah, so let's welcome our other expert correspondent joining us from Scotland. It's Simon MacDonald. Hello.
Hello from the cryogenicized world of Scotland. It's a bit nippy here today, to say the least. I was outside just a wee while ago there, and there's a strong wind blowing off the sea, and I'd say that the air temperature is down in the minuses now. It is very, very cold. And yeah, okay, you're near the equator then, Helena, so you're going to get the sunshine. I'm sorry, but we haven't got it today. At least seeing you all here today as well, it's brought a ray of sunshine into my life. So that's nice.
Oh, that's so nice.
You're too kind. We have got that donut thing coming though, haven't we? So we've got a huge amount of snow it's on its way. So I've heard. So woohoo!
The beast from the east is back to hit us again, I believe. I've heard all sorts of reports about it, and they've been reporting this really for the last 2 or 3 weeks. We know the exact date when it's going to hit. Well, we should have had it several times over by now, but I think they really are saving it up, and I think it's not far away now.
Well,
get the skis on.
What's interesting is you're all pet owners. I don't have any pets anymore, but I remember I had my 3 little dogs, and the snow would be so high and hard, and they couldn't even it was impossible for them to even go and do their business. So we ended up going to pee pads. What are you doing there?
Well, at least with Isla being a golden retriever, she's that little bit higher off the ground, so she doesn't have that problem. But,
does she love the snow?
Yes, she does. She hasn't seen what I would call real snow, but the snow that she's seen, she just goes absolutely mad in it, you know, just daft. She just sort of wonders, you know, now I went out there yesterday and that grass was green. What's happened?
What
Even
happened?
though dogs are colorblind, I mean, you know, it's a different shade.
Oh, well, I've got a little kitten. Well, actually, she's nearly a cat now, called Lizzie. But you know, so beautiful. Animals are so beautiful.
Is Lizzie there with you now?
No. Next time.
Okay,
I'll bring her in.
good. Oh, with that, she disappeared.
She went to get Lizzie, I guess.
Yeah, I guess she did.
Dear, oh dear, she must have stood on the plug and pulled it out the wall.
I love technology. Also, I just want to mention that our dear friend and colleague, Mr. Ian Pelham Turner, is actually out in the fields, and he's doing some work in Lebanon with another one of our friends and colleagues, Daisy Gideon. So hello to both of them, and we're wishing them the best. So, Simon, I wanted to say to you also, and to Helena, who's hopefully will come back and join, thank you so much for the testimonial that you gave about interviewing skills, because we had our course yesterday and it was really well received. And I appreciate you taking that time to do that.
Good. Oh, it was. I mean, it was interesting because you said, right, okay, Simon, you've got 5 minutes, and I thought, now this is actually a subject I could go on for 5 hours because all sorts of different things come in and creep in here and there, and you know, and you've also got to allow for the fact that when you're doing a live one, something's going to go wrong, and you know, and if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. So you've got to be you know, prepared for that occasion to fill in. And I remember one show I was doing, and it was a terribly long fill in, or else there's something happens in the background. And do not do things with animals unless you can avoid it. I had an experience on one of the popular morning shows over here called This Morning, with Richard and Judy, who are well-known broadcasters over here. And we had an alpaca on the show. And I was actually cooking on the show that day as well and talking about food. But this alpaca, and the camera kept on doing close-ups to it. Of course, the show goes out live. And somebody had said, oh, you know, the alpacas, they always look happy and they hum little songs. And I just went, and so unbeknown to me, my mic was actually live at the time, and the floor manager came over and he was going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And so, I pointed to my mic and you're live, and I thought, oh, here we go. So I was mimicking or doing a voiceover for an alpaca. So that was it. Unfortunately, the alpaca was totally incontinent as well, which really didn't help matters in the studio. It was just one of those days. If it can go wrong, it all went wrong. You know, so that was it.
Well, you know what I think is important to, as a segue from that. And by the way, Helena, I was just saying to, I think Helena's frozen. I was just saying that it's what do you do when something goes wrong? How do you show up? Because if you are on live television, what is it you're doing? People are out there watching and they see what's happening, or maybe they don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but you still have to carry on.
Yeah, under the counter, you reach for the whiskey bottle. But the one thing is, do not freeze, because there is absolutely nothing worse on television than somebody who's broadcasting, interviewing, or whatever, and they suddenly freeze. You know, the other worst one you can do as well is what they call corpsing, and that's when you just suddenly get a fit of the giggles and you cannot stop, and everything becomes hilarious, even though it's tragic. You know, just you know. So they're the two things. You do not freeze. Just come out and say anything at all. Change the subject. Talk about the weather. Talk about whatever, but just don't give up.
Just don't freeze, right? It's the same on stage. You know, things can go wrong. One time I lost my wig on stage when I did this scene, and you know, I could have just like, oh my gosh, you know, instead I just pretended that was supposed to happen and worked it in the act, you know.
Then did you continue doing it for future shows, Diane?
The director wanted me to, because it brought such a hilarious laughter, but I was like, yeah, that's not going to happen again.
I had experience of that on stage once as well, when one of the flies decided to collapse forward onto me, and it was the scenery was a big heavy brick wall, and the whole thing just sort of decided to come forward on me and straight over me. It was like something out of a 1920s movie, when the door falls down and but you go through it, sort of thing. So I actually went through this whole piece of scenery, and I was left with this frame all around me, and something words to that effect.
What did you do?
Well, the show goes on. I sort of stood there and sort of muttered some lines and so on, which I think were probably, would not be permitted to be repeated in television, especially a live family show. But it was interesting, and everybody found the whole play after that was absolutely hilarious. It wasn't really meant to be; it was meant to be quite serious, but it brought a bit of humour to it, and so we all just winged it from there. And the show ended a little bit earlier, but we were having such fun.
Amazing.
Helena,
what we were discussing is I was thanking Simon and you, and then you were gone. But we had the course yesterday, The Art of Being a Professional Interviewer, and we got 5-star reviews. I actually asked people to give reviews, and they just loved what you shared because it really resonated on so many levels, and people took something away from what each one of you shared, and they also noticed how you were sharing what you were sharing. And I just want to let you know the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. So thank you for doing that.
That's amazing. Oh, I'd love to see that. And I'll speak to you about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fabulous. Thank you.
Sure. And it was great fun. I mean, it was a short sort of in and out, but there we are. And I think if people have learned something from it, great. That's what's important. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I learned something also. I learned something from each of you, including DIANN. So I think that it's really important that we all keep sharing to help other people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. Remember, roll, ROLL.
I know, roll. Don't give it away, though.
Oh, this is exciting. I'm curious.
Helena, I was wondering if you could share.
I expect the phone to.
Sorry, there was a time delay. I was wondering if you could share, and then we'll go to the news. What has happened when you've been live? Something that you had to just ignore or come back from, and how did you handle it?
I think I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. I think being actually, I think I remember something which is Sky News that I was on, and I was, ferried in, which was lovely, and I had my car, and it was to be about a certain situation, which I think was to do with paparazzi. And when I got there, it was a completely different interview, and it was very much, the show must go on. I wasn't briefed, so I just really just gave what I knew and what I could give, and you have to pull from inside you when you haven't actually got the whole of the story, because at the end of the day you have to remember that when TV are asking you to do something, they want to know your thoughts on things as well. So it was a bit of a whoa. It was just one particular time that I remember. I'm sure there's other things as well, but it's when you're sort of live on air.
Yeah,
kind of like now.
Kind of like that. Exactly.
I told you it's freezing in the UK today.
I remember one time I was in New Jersey and I was in my studio, and all of a sudden the green screen started moving like back and forth, and it collapsed. And as I went to get it, I flipped my computer over, and I went and picked it up, and I was like, "Well, we're back." And I just kept going. That's what you couldn't do.
Just explain it's a commercial break.
Right, exactly. These things do happen, and we have to carry on. So Helena will be joining us again shortly, I am sure. Shortly, I'm sure. Say that 3 times. Sure,
I had another embarrassing moment as well. There was a great morning breakfast show over here called The Big Breakfast on Channel 4. And I'd gone in was to do a piece with another well-known presenter over here, Vanessa Feltz. And this particular show, it was a very zany show, and it was everything was done almost in a rush, in a hurry. And it was rehearsed at 3 o'clock in the morning in the studios, and we would go through every guffaw, every laughter, every smile, every grin, every joke, until we knew it all off pat and were so bored with it. But we had to make it all look, of course, as if this is the first time you've heard this gag, and you collapse about laughing and so on, but only for 1.2 seconds or whatever the timing would be given. So anyway, Vanessa was late in coming into the studio that morning, so she just had to go in fresh, and we had to just fill in. So I was doing this dish with some exotic meats, and I had smoked alligator and smoked kangaroo and smoked ostrich. I had a smoking business at the time, surprise, surprise, and also smoked camel, so you could have one hump or two. But anyway, so I did this dish, and Vanessa was saying her piece, and I said, right, come on, try this. And then her face, just from the smile, just went like that. So I can't eat it. It's not kosher. And I thought, oh, here we go. So that's one of these moments on television when you really wish the world would just swallow you up. Oh.
Did she say that? Did she say,
yeah, she did. Her face from big smile and so on, chatty, and then just, sorry, I can't eat this. It's not kosher. So I just had to pick up the plate, and I ran through the other part of the studio to the main presenters, and I said, come on, guys, Vanessa's not hungry today. Enjoy this, get tucked in. And meantime, my earpiece then, of course, the directors shouting and swearing, cursing and so on. Get back on your marks. What are you doing? The whole show's up there. Oh, dear. And I thought, I'm not going to get us back here. But they did. The next day, I was back again. So you just got to carry it through.
It sounds quite exciting.
It's good fun. Great.
Vanessa Feltz is actually a real giggle. She's a correspondent over here. She does a lot of live TV, and she's good fun. So I think you had a bit of a bum deal there at that time, Simon.
There was talks of a very late party the night before, I think, and so I think that was maybe the reason. But she's still presenting on morning television now. She's been on the go a long time, and she doesn't age. Lucky person. I mean, she really is.
She's a real diamond. She's lovely, really lovely. But she's got a heart of gold. She's really caring. I do love her. She's fab. In fact, she just split up with her partner just before Valentine's. She's been talking about it, but one of those things. Hey, let's have some news.
Yeah, let's have some news. By the way, Megan's been in the news again over here because of that. That's revelation, or that sharing of the first time in the book.
Oh, which one's that? Megan. Okay. Well, the Mrs. Robinson scenario.
Yes,
you mean?
yes.
Yeah, I did a little bit on that. It's a bit. Okay. Let's just start with that, shall we? So it's a bit of slap and tickle, I guess. A bit of light entertainment in a way. So there is an extract, I think, in Harry's book, and he refers to being with an older woman, and her name is Sasha Walpole, and I have to say, I feel very sorry for her. She's had a bit of backlash over here, but it's one of those situations where nobody spoke to her about anything. Sasha had held a secret in her heart, along with her friends, for 21 years, I think it is. And they had a romp, it seems, behind Rattlebone Inn, and that is the real name of the pub, in the grass, grass verges. I mean, they were both young. I think what I find so bizarre about everything is that what a strange thing to talk about, your virginity being lost to an older woman, and then you actually discover that this girl was probably 1.5 to 2 years older than him. So quite strange. She was the groom at Highgrove, Prince Charles's place, and so it's been a great big revelation. But they're saying, well, why has she come forward? Why is Sasha Walpole? But it's one of those ticking bombs, isn't it? This is the media 24/7. Who's the older woman? Who's the older woman? And people are asking Liz Hurley. They're asking all these supermodels and very well-known people. And Sasha realised that eventually it was going to come out, so she had to come clean. But she's very much of the, no one asked me, why did he have to give so much information? Why speak about me? This was years ago. She's actually a JCB driver as well, which is quite interesting. But another reason why I feel sorry is that I think Harry actually referred to her as it was an inglorious moment, which I think is really quite nasty. So people are saying, why she come forward? Well, I absolutely know why she's come forward, because they would have found her anyway. But in a way, as much as you sort of don't want to talk about it in a way, it is a bit of, it's a light entertainment piece, isn't it? And I really hope actually that she gets something out of it, Sasha, because why shouldn't she? For all those years, she didn't say a word. And then she was so shocked, along with lots of others, that it would be mentioned. There was too much information sort of linking her to it, even though her name wasn't given. So I think she's had a little bit of bad press. And you know what? Good for her. I hope she makes a bit of money out of it. Why not?
I think, to your point, it would be pretty easy to figure out a specific night, who was there at that particular location, and then narrow it down, and they would go after her anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And she had to come clean to her father, I think, very recently. But her good friends knew, her mother knew. They're all really good friends. I think, Hazza spent a lot of time at the Rathbone Inn. Interestingly enough, I'm sure there'll be lots of things that will come out in due course, but I just think that hopefully Sasha will make something out of it. But it's an interesting one. It's amazing how, because we've got this media rolling, everyone's interested in these little intricacies, but it's actually Sasha's story, isn't it? I think, because I think people have got confused and keep bringing in Harry and everything, but this bit's about her and her truth and her actually speaking out, because I think I'd be livid if it was me. Well, thank goodness it wasn't me, but there you go.
Well, along those same lines, I remember seeing it.
Simon.
Sorry, go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, sorry. I wonder whether she told her father before letting it loose to the media, or which way around was that?
She did.
Yeah, I think it's probably a wise decision that there would be headhunting going on. Yes.
Well, it's also interesting. She was 19 and he was 17. Is that right?
I think so, although I think he said he was 18. But yes, you're right. And it was a day before her 19th birthday. So,
You'd have to say he was 18 because he was in a pub.
Absolutely.
Even though he was only 12.
It's whole sensationalizing, isn't it? This whole sensationalism is like, well, it wasn't a Mrs. Robinson situation. And then it makes you think, well, how much more is sensationalized?
Exactly. I remember seeing a show, and I can't remember which celebrity it was, but the celebrity was interested in dating someone, and they had a conversation, and then an attorney brought in papers that she would have to sign the papers before they actually consummated anything. And it was a non-disclosure agreement that she could never speak about the fact that she was going to, and she hadn't been with him yet, not even knowing she wanted to be with him, and she has to sign these documents. So I wonder if that goes on a regular basis.
Bit of a passion killer, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kiss and no tell. But if you think about it, if you're a celebrity or someone in a position in the public eye, and you are with a number of people, you don't want all of them running around going, hey, whatever. No, not so great.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Small print in that one.
It has ruined political careers for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It definitely happens, because in my casting experience, I supplied a few Prince Harrys, and this was a funny situation. It was a big open air festival that was happening, and Harry was going to be there. Well, Harry was there, so we had a few decoys who turned up in different areas of the place. This was outside London. I won't say too much about it, but and yes, there were NDAs signed, and just in that very small situation, just so that people couldn't talk. But it's so important. I mean, when I think about friends of mine that got married, and I would be like, come on, you've got to, even that, getting married and signing certain things. It's so important, because what you think won't happen actually
could happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and to your point, I think probably all of us have seen this, where you have a really great relationship with someone, or you know of someone who does, and then it goes completely wrong and nobody remembers how much they loved each other and how much everything was great together. It's just, I hate you, I don't. And then it turns into a mess. So
yeah, we can all learn something from it, I think.
So on a happier note.
Yes, I was just going to say that on a happier note.
Are there any shows going on? Catching fish?
We have a fabulous show today. Vladimir Zelensky addressed Parliament over here. He's arrived, of course, all undercover, and arrived in the UK today. And he met with Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister, and then he went to address Parliament. Both houses, the House of Lords and the House of Commons, were all ushered into the Great Hall. And he came in, and he, of course, wearing his usual, straight out the war zone apparel. And the reception he got was unbelievable. I mean, everybody was on their feet, and the applause went on and on and on, and they were cheering and so on as well. And the Speaker of the House, Sir Lindsay Hoyle, gave a wonderful welcoming speech and so on, how he'd met him before, and went on to explain that his first meeting with Zelensky to the Houses of Parliament was done virtually, and they've got television screens around the debating chamber in the House of Commons, and so all the MPs could watch the address going on the screen. And apparently since then, and this is since we're beginning of 2020, that all the television screens now in the House of Commons are called Zelensky screens. So there's a piece of information there. But he gave an incredible speech today, which went on for quite a while. But the round of applause that he got for it is just quite incredible. I mean, he really did. He brought the house down quite literally. So that's it. And I just I can hardly imagine the security and the nail biting that must have gone around that as well to bring him over to London today to do that. And then he's going back at some stage. Nobody knows exactly when and how, but that was it. So that was been broadcast live today throughout the UK and all television channels and on radio as well. So it was really quite something, and very, very moving as well. And just the way he was dressed in his casual the green t-shirt and so on, just very, very casually, and of course in amongst everybody who was formally dressed. It was such a contrast. It actually really brought home the terrifying horrors that's going on in the conflict over there. So that's today's news just breaking.
Wow. Incredible.
So it was great watching history being made in that speech, because the session in Parliament was closed so that they could deliver this speech. So absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I was driving at the time, and I was listening to it on the radio. It wasn't quite the same as watching it, but he's got a presence, Zelensky, absolutely, and he really he's really quite an inspiring chap. So I'm sure actually to watch it was pretty amazing. I'll watch that a bit later on. So that'd be good fun.
And Boris Johnson, I did notice, was sort of scuttling about and so on, just trying to make sure he was seen, where he was really looking like a refugee out of Sesame Street or something like that, with his hair all over the place as usual. Yeah,
but, he always looks like that. Doesn't he? Madness. But, so, I mean, one of the things at the moment that we've been talking about, which is on a bit of a lighter note, or whether it's light, I don't know. So Britain is in the grip of a chuckle crisis. Now, a chuckle, I don't know if you use the same terminology in the States, chuckle is a laugh, so it's having a laugh. But apparently almost 50% of us here in the UK have said that they cannot remember the last time that they had a real laugh, as in a belly laugh? Well, I would say that we've been having a little chuckle just on the show. So I'm not too sure. I don't really know if I completely believe that, but I think it was on the, I do think it was on the front of the Star, so I'm not quite sure. But it was this whole chat about almost like we've lost our laughter. We don't know how to laugh. I don't know. What do you think, guys? I just think that's surely not the case. When was the last time you had the biggest laugh or just a little chuckle even? I don't know, apart from here, obviously on our show.
3 minutes ago.
Well, today's Wednesday. For me, on Monday, on a Woman's Prerogative show, we have a panel of women, and we were just cracking up. I didn't even know if we could keep on this show. So that was Monday, was my last time, I think.
Oh, that's lovely.
Oh no, it's to smile. You use far less muscles. I'm lazy at heart. You use far less muscles to smile than you do to frown. So I thought, okay, I'll keep smiling and so on. It's a lot easier. It's less energetic, but it's much more fun.
It's true. Diane, how about you?
Well, for me, I try to laugh every day. So if I haven't seen something funny, then I turn to television for a chuckle before I leave. So,
Diane, can you make us chuckle right now? Putting you on the spot.
I can make you chuckle if I try to hit a high C, but I won't. In my winter years, actually.
Well, one of our team members read
wine glasses behind me. Don't chuckle too loud; it might break them.
I was just saying, one of our team members, Red O'Loughlin, he does talking heads, and frequently he'll just talk about the fact that just force yourself to laugh when something's going. You just go, and you automatically feel better. Like, I actually do feel a little bit better. You get rid of some of that stress. So let's all do it together. If we count down 3, 2, 1, you ready? Are you interested? All right.
Yeah, let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
That was
and then
great.
afterwards you look over your shoulder and say, what the heck did I do that for?
There's a program or a sitcom or something in France where they've done something quite similar. But what they've done, they picked the people with the most unusual laughs. So they had a panel of them, I don't know, something like 6 people, and then one would start laughing, and then they all started laughing, and then the whole audience was laughing. But honestly, their laughs were ridiculous. I mean, they were like, oh, I mean, different things, not normal laughter at all. But it's become quite a big sensation, I think, in France. And it's that thing, you know, once you start laughing, it's contagious, isn't it? Oh, and we need it absolutely at the minute, my word.
Imagine if there was a TV show or something where it was just all about laughing, then people would, I don't know, would they want to tune in, or they want to tune into the misery and all of the horrible news going on? But I have to say, when we were just laughing, even the people on the bus behind us were laughing. So
I can see them chuckling. I can still see them chuckling. Actually, talking of chuckling and fun and laughter, I don't know if everybody knows. I know that I'm not sure. I know Simon will know, but do you know the sitcom 40 Towers? Now, 40 Towers is a well-known sitcom which was popular 40 years ago. Now, it was a funny little sitcom. 40 Towers was a little hotel in, I think, Torquay. But John Cleese, who's a well-known actor over here, he's now 83 years old, believe it or not, but he's decided to bring it back. I mean, this is 40 years, but rather than be with the original cast, he is going to be working with his daughter called Camilla. Now, it's a funny one because it's so well-known and very, very funny. There were only 12 episodes made. I would say it's not that PC, so it's not particularly of now. So it's all a bit of a woke time, isn't it? So they will have to completely change the wording. I remember something, don't mention the war or something like that. Anyway, but so it's going to be shot. John Cleese is going to be producing it with his daughter. So let's see what happens. I mean, I think it's a funny thing to do. I sometimes think maybe sometimes when something's so good, maybe you should leave it. But John Cleese is very clever, so hopefully the reinventing it is going to be something special.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
He's quite an extraordinary and adaptable character, but he's always got an injection of humor. I mean, even when he played the part of Q in the Bond movies for a while as well, you actually couldn't keep a straight face when he was doing it, and his delivery and his timing is absolutely spot on. I mean, he is extraordinarily well talented and an incredibly tall man as well to go with it. So that's it. But I remember Faulty Towers as well. It was hilarious. And some parts of it could get cringeworthy, but it was a tremendous show. And it should be screened worldwide. Anything John Cleese does.
Is it 40 FOURTY or
no 40
40
Towers,
yes.
Which is FAWLTY, I think. 40.
Oh, faulty. Like something's wrong with the towers.
Oh, absolutely terrible. Everything you could imagine happened. The beds were awful. There were, you only had boiled cabbage for dinner. There was always a mouse in the room. Everything was, you can imagine. It was just completely silly, but very funny.
His long-suffering Spanish waiter, Manuel, who very little English and keep getting things wrong and get into all sorts of dreadful trouble with Basil Fawlty, owner of Fawlty Towers. It was it was sitcom at its best. I think it really was.
If you could have any show brought back, TV show that was on for a certain amount of time and now it's on the air, what would you like to see back?
None of mine.
Wow.
Hate seeing myself on the screen. I don't know. I mean, there's so many. Downton Abbey, I think, is a universal classic, and it's very difficult to beat that one. Downton Abbey is just such a superb show. And then there's another one, Monarch of the Glen, which was a bit close to my heart because it was very, very close to where I used to live, and portrayed the Highlands in a very humorous way. But they got the humor right because the Highlanders are actually it's a very dry humor in the Highlands, and Faulty Towers type humor as well, often enough. And it was just such a lovely, warm family viewing series, and it went on. I think there must have been about 6 or 7 series, but it was interesting on my own perspective because I knew exactly where everything had been filmed, and I knew a lot of the people involved in it. And actually, I appeared in one of them somewhere down the line. It was a big Highland ball that was going on. That was all dressed up in my kilt and so on as well. But tremendous show, that one. But I think of them all, Downton Abbey, and I've watched the series I don't know how many times now, and each time you notice something different, and it's it's like this show. We're all family here. In Downton Abbey, you actually feel part of the family. So that's the one for me.
It's a good one. Thanks for sharing.
That. I want to be Wonder Woman. I'm going to go back then, and that's going to be me. I'm going to be Wonder Woman. Yeah.
I love her bracelets.
I think we get changed in the telephone box.
Absolutely. I used to love Cagney and Lacey as well. I don't know. It was just one of those.
That's a good one.
That was years ago.
Yes.
Years ago.
They were both good ones.
They are. Do you know, guys, I'm going to say, at the moment in the UK, it's Children's Mental Health Week, which is once a year, we have a special week. And this is a special time. And I think really more so for the Princess of Wales, Kate Middleton, who works tirelessly with young people and with she's a patron of the Place to Be. And I think the actual topic is connection. And obviously, what do? We're always talking and sharing, which is really good. So that's the theme this year, and she's been seen at lots of different places, lots of different schools, working with lots of young children, talking about feelings and emotions. And she's such a special lady, and it takes a special lady, I think, to go into a group of young children and to inspire children to open up and talk. There's something very special there. She's also working on her new thing, which is called Shaping Us, and it's to do with, it's a new project, so it's for children from the age of 1, basically up until the age of 5. It's so important that every single moment, rather than I remember, I think Bowlby used to say something like from the ages of 2 to 3 is the most important years and the most formative years, but she's sharing with everyone and making it so important with lots of psychologists and various different people, how every moment from the age of 0 as an embryo to 5 is so important, and everyone can take part in children's upbringings. And there's a lovely video that's going out. We haven't got it today, but we can share it another time. That's showing in cinemas, etc., showing what happens from an embryo up until the age of 5. That's shared with children, shared with everyone. She's had a little bit of a dig, I think, from people, because people are saying, cost of living and there's children that can't eat, etc. But I think when you're doing a campaign and it's something that's so important, if you speak to people later in life that possibly are, I don't know, addicts or are in prison or whatever it is, it always refers back to when they were young, something that didn't happen or whatever. So I think it's really, really important what she's doing, and this is something that will shape her, something that she can run with, which is great. And I know that her launch was at BAFTA, which is an amazing time. It was full of glam, but it was doctors and researchers and various different people all talking about it, Shaping Us, which is lovely. And I know at BAFTA as well, again, to do with communication, there were lots of young, sort of 12 to 17 years old, up and coming presenters exploring the theme of Let's Connect, with directors and various things. So there's sort of short videos that are going out, lots of questions and answers. Who do you feel closest to? And how creativity really aids connection. And I just love the whole discussion around it. I think it's incredibly important. And I think the Princess of Wales is such an amazing asset to the royal family. So it's just lovely to share the positive at the moment around her.
Absolutely. And I heard you say that you have a video. Maybe we can have another show and take a look at it and talk about this topic more.
Yeah, no, I think that would be so good. It's lovely. And also it's something that had been looking into. Her brother is called James Middleton, and he's absolutely lovely. And he has been talking about his dog, Ella, that he unfortunately lost recently, but he'd had her for 15 years, and he suffers with clinical depression, which is quite interesting how he's come out and he's spoken about it. And he's saying that Ella really helped him through really bad bouts of depression. So obviously he's quite sad that she's gone, because obviously he found it hard to speak with his family, but spoke with Ella. And on top of it, there's a Pets Therapy, PAT, it's known, it's a national charity, which enables thousands of people and communities, not just singular people, to enjoy the benefits of having animals, as we were talking at the beginning of the show about. And I just think it's really important. And funny enough, it's their 40th year. For some reason, 40s is like with as we were speaking before, it's their 40th years, which is something to celebrate. I'd love to do a little piece on them as well, because I think that's absolutely amazing. They actually go into every, singular people, go into, elderly people's homes, and I just love little furries, as I call them. They give so much love. And to hear James Middleton talk about it, he's a really lovely chap. Really lovely.
Absolutely. Sounds like we should do a separate show outside of this just to talk about these topics. I would love that.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. And on a side note, these pets are so amazing what they can bring out. One time my mother became very, very ill and they thought there was no way she was going to make it. But I talked the doctors into letting my mom's dog come just sit on her lap. And Mom had been in a coma for several days and she totally woke up about 40 minutes later. So I would love to see a show like that.
All right, let's do it. And for now, what we have to do is close out our show because our next show is coming up right after this. So let's just give a big wave and say thank you to everybody who's watching or listening. Please come back and see us again next week. And hopefully Ian will be joining us as well. So stay tuned. Our next show is I'm Spiritual But, and that's with Ann Scotland and Dr. Roger Leslie. I'll be producing in the back, so I won't see you. So thanks, everyone. Thank you to our panel. So appreciate you being here and spending the time. Bye for now.
See you next
Bye,
week.
everybody.
Yeah, see you next week.
Bye.
By the way, we have a new outro. So Simon, I hope you'll see something in here that you like. Let's take a look.
Oh, good.
Bye,
good.
everyone.
Oh,
Lots of love.
sounds ominous. Am I going to have my laugh for the day then?
No, it's all good. Peaceful. Bye, everyone.